Welcome to a Legendarium special about Ivar the Boneless, the legendary Viking conqueror of England. In this episode, we will learn about one of the most infamous warlords of England's Viking era and why men called him the Boneless. During the year 793, the Anglo-Saxon chronicle recorded dire omens that foretold a terrible invasion. The chronicle read, "Immense sheets of light rushing through the air and whirlwinds and fiery dragons flying across the firmament. These tremendous tokens were soon followed by a great famine, and not long after, on the 6th day before the Ides of January in the same year, the harrowing inroads of heathen men made lamentable havoc in the Church of God in Holy Island." This, of course, referred to the invasion of Lindisfarne. For the next century, the Vikings gave the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms of Britain little peace and took much. By the mid-800s, the Vikings moved on from attacking monasteries to invading villages and towns. Yet the particulars of some Viking chieftains are halfway between legend and history. This includes a Viking chief named Ragnar Lodbrok, who supposedly landed on the coast of Northumbria in the year 848. He stood tall and blond, clad in a bear skin sewn tightly around him by his wife Aella, which supposedly made him invincible to sword or spear blows. Ragnar brought along 140 of his friends to loot and pillage to their heart's content. To assert power among them, Ragnar claimed to be descended from the god King Odin. His warriors carried swords with names like Golden Hilt and Legbiter to make the lives of the Anglo-Saxons exciting and short. However, after many campaigns, the Anglo-Saxon kings learned how to resist. King Aella of Northumbria confronted Ragnar one day with a force numbering in the hundreds. In the battle that followed, arrows darkened the skies and burnished iron smashed bones. One by one, Aella's army chopped down Ragnar's Vikings, though he alone survived because of his bearskin. So Aella made an example of Ragnar by digging a 6-foot-deep pit near his hall and filling it with adders. Aella flung Ragnar in completely naked, and the adders bit him to agony until he began vomiting uncontrollably and then became paralyzed as the Anglo-Saxon warriors laughed at him above. Before he died, Ragnar shouted to the Anglo-Saxons, "Oh, how the little piggies will grunt when they learn the old boar has died." According to the Icelandic sagas, Ivar was the youngest son of Ragnar Lodbrok. His brothers included Bjorn Ironside, Halfdan Ragnarsson, and Sigurd Snake in the Eye. The legends say that Ivar had a up-and-down relationship with his legendary father. Ragnar learned from a seer that he would have many famous sons, and this led him to fear Ivar. Ragnar even thought of killing Ivar, but could not bring himself to murder his own son. Ivar later earned his father's trust by helping to thwart his brother Ubba's attempt to overthrow Ragnar and seize his throne. Around the time of Ragnar's invasion of Northumbria, Ivar fought in Ireland alongside Olaf the White, King of Dublin. Supposedly, Ivar cut his fingernails when he learned of his father's death and became so enraged that he rammed the scissors through his hand. At least, so the legends say. Regardless, Ivar the Boneless and his brothers Halfdan and Ubba invaded the north of Britain in 865, leading a large Viking force described by the Anglo-Saxon chronicle as the Great Heathen Army. Of course, why would a fearsome warrior be called the Boneless? There are several explanations, ranging from the practical to the fantastic. Legend says that despite Aella warning Ragnar Lodbrok to wait 3 nights before consummating their marriage, Ragnar had been too eager and consummated it on the first night. The gods then cursed their son Ivar to be born without bones. Boneless might actually refer to a hereditary skeletal condition known as osteogenesis imperfecta or brittle bone disease. The Viking sagas describe Ivar's condition as only cartilage where bone should have been. However, we know Ivar had a reputation as a fearsome war chief, which makes it Unlikely he was disabled. In this light, boneless might refer to his physical agility, like that of a seemingly boneless snake, able to avoid sword blows and spear thrusts that would have felled less agile men. Regardless, Ivar's forces landed in Northumbria to begin their invasion. Ivar himself, part of the Viking shock troops, immune to fear or pain. He and other huge, hairy men hurled themselves at Anglo-Saxon lines, clearing a path for the others. Supposedly they could bite through shields, catch arrows in mid-air, and fight with a spear in both hands. Having met weak resistance, the Vikings moved through Northumbria, capturing York in 866. By March 867, King Aella and a deposed king named Osbert joined forces against Ivar the Boneless. Both fought bravely, but without success. After capturing King Aella, Ivar the Boneless and his brothers gave Aella the Blood Eagle. This meant a Viking cut a victim's ribs by the spine and then broke them open to resemble blood-stained birds' wings that stuck out from either side. Vikings then pulled out still-breathing lungs through the massive holes they carved in the victim's back. Ivar then installed Egbert, a puppet ruler in Northumbria, then led the Vikings into the kingdom of Mercia. King Burgred of Mercia sought help from King Ethelred I of Wessex and his brother, the future King Alfred the Great. In 869, Ivar the Boneless fought again in Mercia and then in East Anglia. In the Second Kingdom, Ivar defeated King Edmund, made him a prisoner, and ordered him to renounce the Christian God and declare himself a follower of Odin. When King Edmund refused, Ivar bound him to a tree and ordered his archers to use him for target practice. By the end, so many arrows pierced Edmund that he resembled a porcupine. With that, the bloody Viking adventurer set about expanding his new kingdom. Ivar the Boneless is said to have fought in Scotland around Dumbarton Rock in 870. By 871, he became known as King of the Norsemen of all Ireland and Britain. Unlike previous Viking raiders who came only to plunder and then go home, Ivar sought to make a kingdom of his own. Sometime later, Ivar the Boneless traveled to Dublin, his old stomping grounds, where he died in 873, which proved devastating to his career as a Viking. His final resting place is not known for certain, though a growing number of scholars believed he was buried in England, the land that he conquered. That wraps things up for this episode of the Legendarium. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, press like. If you want to see more, press subscribe. And if you've got anything to say, let me know in the comments section. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope that you have a great rest of the day.